Now, I reckon the second big problem in politics these days is truth and the lack of it. Too many people in the digital age are spreading lies and misinformation, and our political debate is losing touch with the facts, losing touch with reality. And on that, I want to point out something very illuminating about the net zero by 2050 debate. It gives the game away for the Green left zealots. Now, you know, I oppose net zero by 2050. First, it can't be done. All the science, engineering and economics outlined by the UN's own International Energy Agency says net zero is impossible with current technology. Second, the rest of the world's not doing it. Global emissions continue to rise by multiples of Australia's total emissions every year. And therefore, the third point is that all the pain, expense and self-harm of us trying to get to net zero is done for no environmental benefit. We inflict enormous pain on ourselves for no gain. That's the reality. It's literally insane. But here's the thing. The biggest lie of the Green left, the climate alarmists of Labor, the Greens and the Teals, the biggest lie is their pretense that what we do here will change the climate, will save the planet, will protect us from natural disasters.
We live in a country that has always had natural disasters. What we're seeing is events that are changing. Increasingly, governments having to respond to that.
Natural disasters are increasingly frequent, more intense, and natural disasters are increasingly less natural. They're less natural because they're caused by human-induced climate change. I mean, this is a statement of scientific fact.
What will make a difference on climate change is investing in the best and cheapest form of new energy. That energy is renewables.
Natural disasters are increasingly frequent, increasingly severe, and it's important that Australians know their governments will be with them as we deal with these natural disasters.
Now, this is absolute tosh, of course, and they must know it. But in the here and now, with the prospect of the coalition abandoning net zero and therefore future Australian governments not working towards net zero, well, you'd think the Green left would be petrified, wouldn't you? I mean, these people reckon they're saving the planet. Wouldn't they be terrified that what the coalition is proposing will unleash floods and fires and storms and rising sea levels and cyclones and droughts and everything else they try to blame on climate change? Wouldn't these people be alarmed about our cities, our landscape and our planet? Don't they tell us that their net zero policies are going to protect us from all of this? But they're not saying that, are they? All they do is talk about politics and a bit of economics, mainly politics.
It really is quite a thing that those opposite decide to reject net zero and therefore reject what the resources sector knows is best for this country.
The only outcome worse than a disorderly transition would be if we abandon net zero entirely, which is what those opposite are now calling for.
Bagging each other, speaking about how Australia will become a pariah state if they accept the view of those opposite in the National Party and some of the Liberal Party about abolishing net zero. Because we have a very clear position when it comes to energy going forward. It is to support the cheapest form of new energy, which is renewables.
Even the millionaire son of a billionaire, the man behind the Teals, Simon Holmes à Court, has written on the issue today, and for him, it's all about politics too. It turns out he's not so worried about a boiling planet, but he's worried about the political prospects of the Liberals. The lesson from the past two elections should be blindingly obvious, he writes. Australians will not back a coalition that refuses to take climate change seriously. As if he's worried about the Liberals and their political prospects. And as if he doesn't know that the Liberals went to the last two elections supporting net zero by 2050 anyway. The media is all in on this political obsession too. Have a listen to the ABC interviewing the Nationals leader.
Does it matter to you that your decision puts enormous pressure on Susan Lee's leadership of the Liberal Party? Would you accept this much, that this decision of yours makes it harder for Liberals to win back particularly urban or suburban seats at the next election? Does that mean, David Littleproud, that you think that the Liberal Party's adherence to net zero to this point is one of the main drivers of their unpopularity in the polls?
Politics, politics, politics. They might misread the politics, misunderstand them and misrepresent them, but the point is they're obsessed with the politics of the climate and energy debate, not the science. They don't express fear of more droughts and fires and floods and cyclones. They don't express despair for the planet's future. Why? Because they actually know that those arguments are tosh. They know that what Australia does can have no impact on the climate. They know that their interest in this issue is all about politics and all about using the climate scare to push an ideological approach and attack the parties of the right. They give their own game away.